Long before London or Paris became big centers of culture, there was a city in China so huge and full of life it was known as the center of the world. This was Chang'an, the capital of the Tang Dynasty. It was home to over 1 million people, making it the biggest, most amazing city on earth at that time. The city was a perfect square, with wide, straight streets laid out like a checkerboard. It wasn't a city that grew by accident. It was planned to show the power and order of a great kingdom. Its walls were tall and thick, protecting a world of wonders inside. This city was the shining heart of what we now call a golden age. But this time of greatness didn't just appear out of nowhere. It grew from the hard work of the dynasty that came before, called the Sui. The Sui had brought China back together after a long time of being split apart. But they used up all their strength on huge projects, like building the Grand Canal, a giant man-made river. The founders of the Tang Dynasty, Emperor Gaozu and his brilliant son Li Shimin, saw this. They learned from the Sui's mistakes. They knew that to build a kingdom that would last, they needed more than just power. They needed to be smart and take care of their people. The son, Li Shimin, would become one of the greatest leaders in all of history, known as Emperor Taizong. He was more than just a strong warrior who won battles. He was a deep thinker, a kind of philosopher king who wanted to understand the world. He famously said that looking into a mirror made of bronze lets you fix your clothes. Looking into a mirror of history lets you see what might happen in the future. And looking into a mirror of other people lets you see your own good and bad sides. This showed he was a ruler who was always learning. One of the most important things the Tang Dynasty did was to protect and control the Silk Road. This long network of trade paths was the empire's bloodstream. Under Tang rule, it became safer and busier than ever before, connecting China with lands far to the west. Imagine long lines of camels walking for months across deserts and mountains. They brought shiny glass from places as far away as Rome, sweet-smelling spices from India, and the best horses from Central Asia. It was a flowing river of treasures from all over the known world. But this great road carried more than just goods. It carried new ideas, different religions, and amazing art. It made the Tang Dynasty a place that was open to new things and different cultures, a true meeting point for the East and the West. Now, let's go back to the amazing city of Chang'an. Inside its walls were 2 huge, busy markets run by the government. The West Market was an exciting place full of goods from other lands. There you could see merchants from Persia, monks from Japan, and dancers from faraway lands, all sharing their cultures and selling their wares. In this incredible city, life was a mix of 1,000 different colors and sounds. You could hear languages from Persia, India, and Japan spoken in the markets. New ideas about faith, science, and art traveled along the same roads as silks and spices. For the people who lived there, it felt like standing at the very center of the world, a place where the future was being written every single day. But in a world and a time completely controlled by men, how did a woman come to rule this most powerful empire on earth? The rules of society were very strict. Power was passed from father to son. A woman's role was meant to be quiet and in the background. To even dream of ruling was impossible. Yet one woman did the impossible. Her name was Wu Zetian. She did not begin as a princess or a queen. She started as a low-ranking woman in the emperor's court, one of many who served Emperor Taizong. From this humble place, through amazing cleverness and a will of iron, she began a climb to power that would shake the foundations of China. Her journey to the top was not a gentle one. Many stories from that time paint her as a cruel and ruthless ruler. It is said she created a secret police to spy on her enemies and remove anyone who dared to challenge her. She was feared, and many powerful families who stood in her way were crushed. But that is only half of her story. Empress Wu was also an incredibly smart and effective leader. She changed how the government worked, making it better. She greatly expanded a system of tests called the civil service exams. This meant that smart people from poor families could get important jobs, not just people from rich families. This made the government stronger and more fair. She chose leaders based on what they knew, not who they knew. Because of this, the empire ran smoothly and became even more powerful under her rule. She proved that a woman could rule just as well as any man, even if her methods were sometimes harsh. But the true heart of this golden age was not found in the emperor's palace, but in its art. The Tang Dynasty is known as the greatest time for Chinese poetry. Poems were everywhere, written by government workers, monks, soldiers, and travelers. They wrote about everything from the beauty of a single flower to the sadness of a long war. Two of the most famous poets were Li Bai and Du Fu. Li Bai was like a wandering star, full of passion and a love for nature and freedom. His poems feel wild and exciting. Du Fu was different. He was called the sage poet because he wrote with deep wisdom about the real lives of the people, their struggles, and their quiet strength. The Golden Age reached its highest point under Emperor Xuanzong, a grandson of Wu Zetian. For the first part of his rule, the empire was peaceful and richer than ever before. Art and learning blossomed. It seemed like the Golden Age would last forever. It was a time of great confidence and brilliant light, but a shadow began to grow in the Golden Court. As the emperor grew older, he became less interested in ruling. He fell deeply in love with a beautiful woman named Yang Guifei and spent more and more of his time with her. He started to listen to corrupt officials who only wanted power for themselves, and slowly the strong foundation of the empire began to crack. But inside this shining world, a deep shadow was growing. A powerful general named An Lushan, who was not from the main Chinese people, had earned the emperor's complete trust. He was given command of one of the largest and strongest armies in the empire, guarding the northern frontier. For years he was seen as a loyal protector. Then, in the year 755, the unthinkable happened. And Lushan turned his massive army around. He marched not against the empire's enemies, but against the emperor himself. The man who was supposed to be the shield of the dynasty became its sharpest sword. The Golden Court was completely surprised. The rebellion was a fire that spread with terrifying speed. The emperor, the son of heaven who lived in the magnificent city of Chang'an, was forced to run for his life. Imagine the people of the world's greatest city watching their own armies storm the gates. The Golden Age was shattered in an instant. Think about a time when someone you trusted completely, someone you believed in, suddenly betrayed you. That deep, painful feeling of a broken world is what the entire Tang Empire felt. The An Lushan rebellion was more than just a war. It was the death of an idea. The spirit of the dynasty was broken. The open, trusting, and curious culture that had welcomed people from all over the world was gone. In its place grew suspicion and fear. The Golden Age never truly came back. The heart of the empire had been wounded, and it would never fully heal. Even as the Tang Dynasty began its long, slow fall over the next 150 years, the light of its golden age did not go out. The ideas born in that time were so powerful they spread far beyond China's borders. Its culture was like a great river that flowed across all of East Asia. The way the Tang government was set up, the laws it created, and the beautiful plan of its capital city became the model for new kingdoms. In Japan, Korea, and Vietnam, leaders looked to the Tang Dynasty as the perfect example of a great civilization. Its art and poetry became treasures for the whole world. The story of the Tang Dynasty is more than just a chapter in a history book. It is a powerful story about people. It shows the incredible things we can build when we are open, curious, and work together. It shows the heights of art, science, and peace we can reach. But it also teaches us a hard lesson. It shows that even the brightest golden ages are delicate. They are not promised to last forever. They are built by trust and can be destroyed when that trust is broken. It is a timeless story of brilliance and how fragile it can be. Even though the great empire fell, its heart kept beating. The beautiful poems written by people like Li Bai and Du Fu were not lost. They were copied by hand, shared, and remembered. These words traveled through time, telling stories of moonlight, friendship, and the sadness of war. They became treasures for all of China, a window into the soul of a golden time. The Tang Dynasty's bright ideas also traveled far beyond its borders. In nearby lands like Japan, Korea, and Vietnam, leaders looked at China with awe. They wanted to build their own great societies. They studied the Tang way of government, their laws, their writing, and their art. The Golden Age of China helped spark golden ages in other places. How did these ideas travel? They were carried by people. Brave monks crossed dangerous seas to bring back holy books and new ways of thinking. Smart students came to Chang'an to learn and took that knowledge back home. Merchants on the Silk Road didn't just trade goods, they traded stories and ideas, spreading Tang culture like seeds on the wind. One of the biggest ideas that grew during this time was Buddhism. The Tang rulers were open to different beliefs, and this new religion from India found a welcoming home. Great temples were built, and thinkers wrote important books. From China, this gentler way of seeing the world spread to the rest of East Asia, changing millions of lives forever. But as the Tang Dynasty faded, many of its amazing creations were destroyed or lost within China itself. Wars and time turned great works of art and beautiful buildings to dust. It seemed as if the brightest parts of the Golden Age had vanished. But a secret was kept safe, in a land across the sea. In Japan, an emperor who loved Tang culture collected its finest treasures. He stored them in a special wooden building called the Shosoin. For over 1,200 years, this building protected these fragile objects. Inside are musical instruments, glass bowls, silk robes, and paintings from Chang'an, perfectly saved as if they were made yesterday. Imagine seeing a lute that was played in an emperor's court, or a mirror that a Tang lady used. These aren't just old things in a museum, they are real pieces of a lost world. Looking at them is like reaching through time and touching the Golden Age itself, feeling the skill and dreams of people who lived so long ago. And what about the great city of Chang'an, the biggest city on earth? It is gone now. Its grand walls and palaces crumbled away. But it is not completely lost. A new city, called Xi'an, was built right on top of the old one. The ghost of Chang'an lies just beneath the surface of a modern city. If you walk through Xi'an today, you are walking on layers of history. The streets you follow might be the same paths where merchants from Persia sold their goods. The park where you sit could be where a great poet once looked at the moon. The entire city is a quiet reminder of the magnificent world that once stood there. The story of the Tang Dynasty teaches us something important. A golden age is not just built with strong armies or high walls. It is built with open minds and curious hearts. Even when the empire itself is gone, that spirit of wonder, beauty, and connection can live on, inspiring people forever.